There is a version of Spider-Man who's made of 1,000 actual spiders. There's even one that pilots a giant robot, and another that's eating Galactus. It's been said that there is a version of Spider-Man that can literally do everything, including bring Uncle Ben back from the dead. And that's the spread we're covering today. Welcome to the premiere of our most powerful version series, a brand new series where every single episode we take one character in every form that they've ever taken and rank them by raw power, comic books, movies, video games. The whole multiverse is on the table. And we're gonna start with everyone's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Today is gonna be part 1, and we're gonna cover what I like to call the mortal tier Spider-Man. And then in part 2, we're gonna leave the Earth realm and physics along with it and talk about cosmic and reality warpers. I'm Kai the comic guy, and it's time for a deep dive. Alrighty, coming in at number 14, we have the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man of Earth 96283. This will take our best live action version. Let me explain why. Raimi's trilogy gave us the most physically capable Spider-Man ever put on screen. And there are a ton of receipts throughout the film. He stopped a runaway train with his bare hands and web lines, pulling back enough force to decelerate several hundred tons of steel, while his body was almost shredded apart doing it. He's also taking hits from Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Sandman, Venom, across 3 separate films. Now, I know the Tom Holland fans are already typing, and look, I get it. The Iron Spider suit, EDA system, along with the instant kill mode, on paper, that's a pretty dangerous package, right? But force multipliers only matter if the baseline underneath actually holds up, right? So Tobey's baseline far outclasses Tom's in every physical metric, and we can show that on film based on raw strength, durability, and pain tolerance. So I'm not sure it's really that close. Tobey takes the live action slot on merit and holds on to number 14. A live action Peter with nothing but his body and his will. Number 13 has neither of those and somehow makes him a little bit more terrifying for it. Coming in at number 13, Spider-Man, Earth 11580. The darkest origin possibly on the list, and full transparency, one of the most limited and raw output, which is exactly why he sits at number 13. On Earth 11580, a horror-tinged reality called Cruel York, a young Peter Parker toured Horizon Labs with Gwen Stacy. They observed the colony of radioactive spiders being bombarded with genetic experiments. Peter slips, falls into an enclosure, and gets devoured alive. Yeah, he kind of dies, guys. But the spiders absorb this consciousness, and the swarms become a hive mind, and they take a Spider-Man shape to fit into the costume. So we have thousands of arachnoids basically pretending to be a man. Power-wise, yeah, he's got some Spidey strength. He's pretty hard to kill conventionally. Punch him, the swarm disperses and reforms. Stab him, same. He can split off into individual spiders and autonomously scout and retain full intelligence. He's a tactical surveillance network shaped like a person. Oh, and he casually talks about maybe wanting to eat enemies, so yeah, that's a thing. Or not eat them. But where the limitations are is in the raw offensive power, because there's no symbiote, there's no cosmic energy, there's no force multiplier, except a bunch of small spiders making up a whole. So you can't punch the Spider-Man out, but he can't always out-punch you or above his weight class. So he's going to sleep tight at number 13. 1,000 spiders pretending to be a man is a terrifying concept, but a limited ceiling. Number 12 has the opposite problem. It's one man pretending to be Spider-Man with a ceiling that scares me more than a swarm ever could. Coming in at number 12, we have the Superior Spider-Man. This Spider-Man showed up during the Dan Slott run. A dying Otto Octavius pulled off the ultimate body snatch, swapping minds with Peter Parker, and Otto winds up being in the driver's seat. He was out to prove that he was the Superior Spider-Man. He was willing to do things that Peter, normally wouldn't. He goes and upgrades his suit with retractable talons, along with nano arms similar to his typical Doc Ock presentation, and a citywide network of surveillance spider bots, hired henchmen, an army of spiderlings, and even went so far as to hire villains with a willingness to cross the line. So this Spider-Man had the same body type, same class strength, but functionally was deadlier. He cleaned up the villains Peter spent decades failing to put away, because Otto fights to win. Peter fights to be a good person. And guys, that's a really core concept to get down here, because the Vulture is one of Peter's oldest villains and have been terrorizing New York for decades. Peter's beating him down, jailed him, beat him down, put him back in jail again. It was just a revolving door. So Otto took a look at that pattern and broke it permanently. He ended the cycle. He didn't just defeat Vulture, he systematically dismantled his entire operation. I mean, crushed his crew, left him with nothing to return to, no resources, no network, no path back to villainy. Peter doesn't fight to end threats. He fights to contain them. Otto fights to eliminate them. Same body, completely different philosophy. And on a pure results basis, Otto's philosophy wins. Tactics and ruthlessness as a force multiplier. He outranks the swarm on raw efficiency. Otto's advantage is borrowed. It's Peter's body. It's Peter's strength, but with Otto's willingness to use it. Number 11 built his advantage from scratch. He is one of my favorite Spider-Man of all time. We have Miles Morales, bitten by a genetically altered spider his uncle stole from Oscorp. Miles inherited the classic Spider-Man kit, plus a few extra perks. Let's talk about them. Okay, first, the Venom Blast, a bioelectric discharge that can incapacitate larger foes by frying the nervous system and double as a localized EMP against tech. Pretty useful. Second, is active camouflage, a stealth tool that no other spider on this list has natively. After the Secret Wars, he winds up in the 616 universe. With the recent Vibranium upgrade and his evolving electrical command of it, Miles isn't a legacy kid anymore. He's a flagship. He's a powerhouse. His Venom Blast isn't a static tool. It started as a nervous system disruptor, then an EMP. Then he began focusing it directly, tightening the output into something closer to an actual physical construct. Yeah, guys, Miles has a lightsaber. He has a freaking lightsaber, and it is awesome, and you should definitely read this comic book right here. Go ahead and read it. The trajectory of his power and evolution points towards full offensive constructs that no other Spider-Man on this list has developed thus far. And here's what matters most when we talk about ranking. Miles is the entry that's most likely to climb. He's the least experienced of the major Spideys. Number 10 wins on a completely different axis, one that makes versatility irrelevant when the opponent is the size of a city block. Coming in at number 10, we have the Japanese Spider-Man, Takuya Yamashiro. So it's not exactly Peter Parker, and this Spider-Man is of Earth 51778. In the 70s, monsters were a big deal, so Japan decided to make their own live-action Spider-Man series that was a little bit different than the West. They wanted to have a Spider-Man that could fight these city block threats. Takuya Yamashiro is a motorcycle racer who receives his powers during a blood transfusion from a dying alien. He was a warrior of the planet Spider. He has all the baseline Spider-Man powers, but when the street-level powers aren't enough, he summons a spider bracelet, which activates a spaceship called the Marveler, and the Marveler transforms into the Leopard, a 50-foot mecha that Takuya pilots to fight and destroy city-sized kaijus. And this is why he's going to stay at number 10. Everyone below Takuya is fighting a single scale, a street-level threat, a city level at a stretch, and that's a norm for these Spider-Men. But Takuya doesn't just hit hard in those entities, he operates at a fundamentally different category because he casually fights these kaijus. You cannot send Superior Spider-Man and his spider bots after a kaiju. You cannot Venom Blast something the size of a skyscraper to submission. The scale of engagement is its own force multiplier, and Leopard makes every other entry on this list look like a neighborhood problem. Takuya fights at a scale no other Spider-Man on this list can reach. Number 9 fights at every scale and has 6 decades of receipts to prove it. Coming in at number 9, we have the classic Spider-Man, the 616 Peter Parker that we all know and love, that first appeared in Amazing Fantasy 15 in 1962. The Golden Standard, the Peter Parker every entry on this list is measured against. With 60 years of comic book feats has earned him a top spot. A high school kid gets bitten by a radioactive spider on a Midtown high school field trip and inherits proportional strength of the Spider-Man. Several powers, wall crawling, hyper agility, spider sense, precognitive danger detection, and engineers his own mechanical web shooters because, well, he's frankly smarter than most of the adults in the room. He spent 6 decades justifying why he should be at number 9. He lifted an entire collapsing building on his own, on his back in Amazing Spider-Man number 33. He went toe-to-toe with the Fire Lord, a former herald of Galactus, and won. And yes, I know the community has their opinions about that fight, but we could talk about that in the comments, right? He survived the Juggernaut. He beat Doctor Doom and has traded blows with Carnage and the line of threats decades above his weight class. Here's what some of the casuals miss. 616 Peter constantly holds back. His full strength could put a fist clean through a brick wall and through an actual person. So nearly every punch this Peter throws, the Spider-Man you usually see fighting is only fighting at a portion of his actual strength, because the alternative is a body count and it would pile up fast. But when he does cut loose, like against Juggernaut, against Rampaging Symbionts, against someone who can genuinely take it, you finally see how overpowered this hero actually is. 6 decades of feats, constant growth, permanent handicap he chooses to wear every single day, and the discipline is the difference between him and half the monsters below him. They hit as hard as they can. Peter hits as hard as he lets himself, and that's why he's earned this spot. All right, guys, so that's the template. Discipline, brilliant, and holding back by choice. Number 8 is what happens when discipline disappears entirely and just raw strength remains. Coming in at number 8, we have the Spider-Hulk, who appeared in Web of Spider-Man number 70 and has shown iterations in bullet points 1 through 5. This is going to be the top in the last entry of our mortal tier, and I need you to understand the gap between number 8 and everyone else, because it's not a step, it's a cliff. In the Web of Spider-Man 70, Peter is accidentally infected with the Hulk's gamma radiation, and here's the part that should terrify you. His intellect didn't survive the trip. Peter Parker, genius tactician, the guy who builds weapons in his basement, gets swallowed up by a savage Hulk level rage. And kind of not Spider-Man anymore, right? That's pretty much a walking natural disaster. And what's the absolute ceiling of this form? Well, how can we determine that? Well, let's look no further than Earth 70105 and the J. Michael series bullet points, where Peter wanders into a gamma bomb test site instead of a spider lab and becomes that world's Hulk. When Galactus arrives, every superhero on the planet pretty much gets dismantled. Equipped to actually put up a fight is Parker Hulk, who steps out of seclusion and charges the Devourer of Worlds. Now, he doesn't win, guys. He by the power cosmic and dies. But here's what matters. He was the only being on Earth who could make Galactus feel like this was an actual fight. And that is not an understatement. His sacrifice inspired the Silver Surfer to turn on his own master and drive Galactus off the planet. Peter, running on pure gamma rage, moved the needle against the Planet Eater, and that's the ceiling for this form. It's formidable. Spider-Hulk takes number 8 because new gamma class brute force at this tier outclasses everything below, just based off of pure destruction. Let's not forget, muscles have limits. Physics has limits. The 7 versions of Spider-Man that are going to be in part 2, they don't operate within those boxes anymore. Part 2 leaves the planet, so this is the last stop on Earth. If you're not already subscribed, you're going to miss out on the next episode. Keep your feet on the ground and your eyes on the stars. Excelsior, my fellow nerds. Kai out.